Michael here from X Agency. We teach independent musicians how to attract, grow, and monetize their music careers using paid music marketing. So today in this video, what we're going to be talking about is why every indie musician and producer needs to understand what a customer journey is. But before we get into this video, what I'm going to ask you guys to do is make sure that you subscribe to our channel, because we're going to continue to deliver valuable content that's going to help you understand how to market your music effectively and understand the tips and tricks and ins and outs of literally getting your music out there so that you can grow your music career and excel, which is really and truly what we want to do. So if you haven't subscribed already, please do that, and also make sure you engage with any of the content that I put out here, and comment and share your thoughts. As a community, so we really want to just engage and have conversations about some of the topics that are going to be discussed in this video. So today what we're going to be talking about is literally why every indie musician and producer needs to understand what a customer journey is. So the first thing you may be thinking is, I'm asking you to go on holiday with your fans, but that's not the case. What I'm telling you about right now is a customer journey. And what a customer journey is literally is touch points between you and your fan base or your supporters. So from the time you release your music to the time it hits them and they start to listen to it, what is that process like? In the music world, normally every indie musician and producer just feels there's two stages. There's releasing the music and there's your supporters hearing the music. But there's far more touch points to consider. And you may be asking yourself, what is a touch point? So we've just mentioned two touch points. We've mentioned one, which is awareness, and we mentioned another one, which is a conversion. So awareness is you've created, the music, or you've produced the beat and you've pushed it out there. And the second point is the conversion, which is someone listening to that music and appreciating it. Those are two touch points. But what we're missing here is there's 5 other crucial steps that make up the whole customer journey. So what I'm going to be doing is breaking that down so you have a little bit more information on that. So first, what we're going to do is jump into this whiteboard. Please forgive me because I'm not an artist, but I'm here to try my best to help you understand this. So first, we're going to jump over here. So what we have as a starting point, what we have as a starting point is we've got this box. So what this box is going to be is we got awareness. So that's the first stage. So what that stage is basically your fans have become aware of your music. You've distributed that music out there. So before in this video, I described the 2-step phase that every indie musician and producer understands, which is there's 2 stages. There's awareness and there's the conversion. But what happens to the other touch points? Let me give you a brief example. So when you're going out shopping and you want to go and buy something, you have an idea of what you want to go and buy, and you may pick up a couple other things along the way. So as you enter into the shopping mall and you go to that specific shop that you're buying stuff from, there's a next stage. You may go through a stage of interest. You're interested in other things that catch your eye whilst you're shopping for your main items, and then you go into, okay, you're considering those other options and buying them and adding them to your list. And then what may happen is you may decide, okay, I now want to purchase these other items besides the ones I have on my list. And these are the touch points that all of your fans go through. So what I've just described there is a repeatable process that every single fan that comes across your music has to go through. They become aware of your music. They know that you make music, which is the first step here. And now the second step after they've become aware is they become interested. So what we're going to do is we're going to have another box now. We're going to have another box over here. As I told you before, I'm not an artist, but this is going to help you understand. So the next stage is they become interested. As you can see, they've gone from awareness, now they've become interested. What next? You're interested in, potentially pursuing the particular product that you're seeing right now. So, your fan base has now discovered your music. They're like, oh, I like this musician, I've looked at a couple other people, but I'm interested in what you're bringing to the table. I like, the way your music sounds and the way you've crafted your brand. So what next is going to happen is they're going to be tempted to start looking at other people that are in your genre. As you know, the music industry is highly overpopulated and there's numerous musicians that fall into different subsets of genres. And there's multiple options for your listeners to potentially be swayed to other people's music. So they're going to go through a stage of consideration. And what this is basically you're considering other options that are out there. So what we're going to do now is draw the next box. So now we've got the next stage there. So they've gone from awareness to being interested in your style of music. Then they've said to themselves, okay, I'm not too sure yet, I'm not sold yet, but what I'm going to do right now is consider other options that are out there and add you as one of the considerations. So you see how we've touched different touch points. So if you've got a single fan right now, you need to understand that every person in your fan base goes through this process. This is a customer journey. This is your fan base journey. You know, they go through the awareness stage, the interest stage, and they go through the consideration stage. These are 3 steps. But normally, as I said, there's only 2 steps that indie musicians and producers normally consider. They consider the awareness stage, and they only consider the conversion stage, which is where we're going to get to. But what's happened now is I've now showed you that there's 2 extra stages, and there's even more that I'm going to add on top of this. But the key stages is they become interested. So becoming aware is then becoming aware of your music, and then they start to like your music and become interested in your music, and then they really start to consider your music as something that they should explore as an option. So the next stage right now is once they've considered you, they now start to look at, okay, I actually am a fan of this person's music. So what happens next is they go to the conversion stage. So now we're going to draw another box, which what you now have here is conversion. So what this means is, you know, this person can now start streaming your music. This person can now start buying your merch or buying your physical CDs. You know, this person could just become a loyal supporter. These are all indicators of someone converting. So what they've done is they've gone through different touch points, which I explained before. Is they've gone from awareness, which is becoming aware of who you are, your brand, that you're a musician. Then they become interested in you, the music you make, you know, your brand, understanding the type of offers that you have available for your career or the ways that they can support you. Then they've said to themselves, okay, there's other options that may be in your genre of music, but they want to consider you as one of them, that they become part of your tribe and start supporting you. So they've gone from awareness to interest to consideration. And now they've said, nope, I've listened to everyone else, but your stuff is lit. Your stuff is the stuff that I want to listen to. So they convert. So you can see it's gone from awareness to interest to consideration to conversion. Now you can see at the beginning I explained most indie musicians and producers only see 2 steps. And the 2 steps that they see is the awareness and conversion stage. So they only see, you know, the creative process and your fans becoming aware that you've made new music, and you only see the other stage where someone streams your music on Spotify or goes to YouTube to listen to your music, and that will be, you know, classed as a conversion. Or if you're selling merch, that's a conversion as well. So another step which is key, which I've been pushing heavily on our Instagram page that indie musicians and producers really consider, is the retention stage. This stage is highly important, and let me just, you know, add that on top of, you know, the fan base journey and customer journey that we've crafted right now. So here what we have is, okay, just make that smaller so it fits. We're going to come over here and we have retention, and that literally is the final stage of the customer journey and the fan base journey. And in this entirety, what that is basically the journey that all of your supporters have to go through. These are the 5 touch points that you need to familiarize yourself with if you're an indie musician or producer and you really want to understand, you know, the journey between you putting out the music and how it's put out on these digital platforms, and what is kind of like the engagement and communication or stages that your fans have to go through. They have to become aware of who you are, you know, for them to even listen to your music. They have to be really interested in you to spend their times to stream your music, to purchase your merch or go to your live shows. That, you know, you have to have some sort of interest. And then when we go into consideration stages, what we're talking about here is you're not the only artist that exists, so they're going to consider other options. That's the consideration phase. They're lining you up against all of the other musicians that are in your space, and they're asking themselves, should I devote my time to listening to you or advocating or supporting your music career? And that's the consideration phase. So the reason why these phases are so key is because they allow you to understand the different touch points between your music and your fan base, and that's how you can start, you know, crafting your message and, you know, your brand towards these different stages. Someone that is at consideration phase is not the same as someone that is at awareness phase, that is just becoming aware of your music. And then someone that has converted, you know, they're different from someone that has just become aware of your music. Now you're starting to get the psychology behind it, where you have a different message for different people that are at different stages. So different fans are at different stages, and this is a huge part that a lot of indie musicians and producers fail to understand. If you're aware of someone's music, it means you can be swayed easily. If you're interested, you know, you're more likely to, you know, stream the person's music. If you're in consideration stage, if I was to dangle, you know, a t-shirt or some sort of merchandise in front of you with a super discount, you're more likely to consider that because you're already interested in the artist that you've become aware of and interested in. And then when we go to the conversion phase, we're really saying, look, I'm sold. I've sold my soul to you. I'm literally someone that is interested in your music, and I really want to, you know, be part of your journey and watch you blossom as an independent musician or producer. So this is someone that has shown that they're loyal by purchasing something of yours, streaming your music, subscribing to your music channel, you know, just showing key advocation points of interest, real hardcore interest in your music by not being classed as a stranger no more. These are people that are actually rocking with your music, like they're digging your music, really. And then the last stage is retention. This is an area that a lot of indie musicians and producers don't even consider. Once you've got that person that's become aware of you and they've converted to purchasing or, you know, showing advocation towards your music career, how do you keep them? How do you keep them engaged so they don't get lost and they don't forget about you? These are certain strategies that you need to start deploying in order to keep your fans on their toes and keep them anticipating new music. This has a lot to do with your organic, you know, marketing strategies, how you put content in front of your fan base, how well you engage your fan base, how well you build a relationship and trust with your fans. This is all to do with the retention stages. If you see me sweating on camera right now, it's because I'm giving you guys a lot of value. So please do comment below in the comment section, you know, if you've got any sort of questions that you want to ask me in regards to this whole fan base journey and customer journey. In case you're confused with me giving it the customer journey title and the fan base journey, really and truly, this is like a sacred marketing understanding of what a customer journey is. And if you go anywhere, this is what they call it. They call it a customer journey in regards to the marketing space. But in regards to the music space, you're going to know it as a fan base journey. But just for you to get the overall broad understanding, it's labeled as a customer journey. But in this case, it's a fan base journey. So you're going to have someone that becomes aware of your music. They're now interested in your music. Then they start considering you as an option that they want to become part of your tribe and, you know, advocate for your music career. And then they're like, okay, I believe in you enough that I actually want to start, you know, showing some real love and advocation for your music by purchasing, streaming, subscribing to your channel. And then retention this is where all the duty is on you. How do you keep people engaged once you've got them locked in and you've classed them as loyal supporters? So yeah, this is pretty much what a customer journey is. So you got to start asking yourself, you know, what are you doing at each of these stages? What are you really doing? You know, how are you communicating your brand and your message when you release your music? And make sure you're not just skipping steps. So normally what happens is a lot of people, they skip. They go all the way straight to conversion. They do that. And that's the two-step phase that a lot of indie musicians make a mistake on. But they're forgetting that you've got your interest and you've got your consideration. And you've also got your retention stage here as well. So you can't just jump straight from awareness all the way to conversion. And a key part on top of the conversion is the retention. How are you keeping your audience engaged so that they don't go and start listening to someone else's music or forget about your music? That's a key question. I want you to comment below and tell me now what you're doing. How are you, you know, keeping your fan base engaged? What's your content rollout strategy? What methods are you using to market on the organic side, you know, and on the paid marketing side? Are you running ads that keep, you know, your users engaged with retargeting ads? So once they've viewed your content on Instagram or on YouTube, you're retargeting them with an ad so they don't forget that you still got music. Are you telling them about your story and how you got into the music industry? Are you giving them behind the scenes footage so they can know more about you as a musician? These are all the key points and the gems that I'm dropping for you right now. If you appreciate them, you know, share some love by liking this video, and make sure if you haven't subscribed, subscribe. But there's another key aspect that I haven't talked about in this video, and this is about traffic. So when we're looking at these stages over here, what we're really saying to ourselves is, let me just get this. What we're saying to ourselves over here is, this stage right here is where we have cold traffic. That's what we group it as. And cold traffic is basically people that are still unfamiliar with you. They're just becoming aware that you're a musician, you know? And this is what is classified. Cold traffic, whenever you hear that word, these are people that have shown minimal intent or advocacy towards your music career. And the next stage of that is then you have warm audiences. So what we got here is warm traffic. You can call it a warm audience, a cold audience, or warm traffic or cold traffic. So the words are interchanged, but what it basically means is it shows the behavior of the user that is engaging. So what I'm going to do is draw another circle here. And what we have over here is warm. Mistake there, it should be here and here. So it should be between the interest and consideration. So what we should have over here, if this is unclear, this is not an art lesson, this is basically to give you as much value as possible. So what we got over here is we got warm traffic. So as you can see, so the difference between cold traffic and warm traffic is, on the cold traffic side, these are people that are not really, really engaged with you. They've just become familiar with your music, so they're less likely to show any sort of advocacy towards your music career. So they're still at the awareness and interest stage, which means they're cold audiences. When they go from, the consideration and interest stage, then they start becoming warm audiences, which means they've started to stream your music. They've started to like and comment and engage with your communities. They started to repost and share your content, which means they've showed that they're interested and they're considering you. They're considering becoming a loyal supporter of your music career, and that's why they're classified as warm traffic. So the differentiation between the cold traffic and the warm traffic is basically on their intentions and the actions that your fans are showing. If they're just becoming familiar, they may look at your post once and not like it or do anything, but then they may even stream your music once, and that's someone that's still cold traffic because they're still skating around the interest stage. And then once they jump into the interest and consideration, they're now becoming warm audiences because they've shown you certain actions that you can look at and see as something that is credible enough to know that they're now familiar with who you are as a musician. So that's basically the key word I just mentioned there, is familiarity. They're familiar with your music, which means they're warm, and they're showing indications by actions of liking, streaming, sharing, that they're warm to who you are as a musician. And the next key stage here is, what we have here is we have the conversion and retention stage. What we have over here is, let me make it smaller, is we have hot traffic. And what I mean by hot traffic, okay, so what I mean by hot traffic is basically they've started to purchase from you. They've started to stream your music consistently, and they've started to share your stuff on a consistent basis. It means they're converting, and now it's your job to start figuring out how you can convert these loyal fans and get them to purchase your tickets. What they've really done is shown real brand advocacy for your music career, and that they're loyal and they're with you to the end. The conversions are the streams, the subscriptions, the sharing of your music, the purchasing of your event tickets. So before I made a little bit of an error mentioning that they need to you need to figure out how they're going to purchase your tickets in the conversion stage. But what I should have said is they've already converted. So these are the people that are buying your tickets, are subscribed to your channel, are sharing your music, are sending you messages of how your music has made them feel. This is why they're hot traffic, because they've shown you that they're advocated for your brand. So as you can see, we've broken this down, and what I've just described here is the different traffic levels and stages. So besides the customer journey and the fan base journey, which goes from awareness to interest to consideration to conversion to retention, by the side of that as well, there's 3 different traffic groups that you need to start understanding. If you want me to make a video explaining this in more detail, please let me know in the comment section, and also like this video. But what I will do for you guys, if I get enough people that want this video, is I'm going to talk about the hot, the warm, and the cold traffic, and why you need to start branding yourself in these ways and communicating with your fan base by understanding the different subsets of traffic that your fans really, flow into. Because if you're speaking to a cold audience and you're telling them to purchase, your music, that's not going to work, because you don't understand what stage of the fan base and customer journey that they're at right now. Now you're starting to understand why this is very important to understand and to differentiate the different stages that your fans are at. So the awareness, the interest, the consideration, the conversion, and the retention is something you need to start weaving into your, your music message, branding, and communication style. And the warm, the cold, and the hot traffic is something you need to understand, that there's different levels of traffic that you're going to be, reaching. When someone's typing your name in on Google, it means, they're at a warm level because they must have seen you somewhere else for them to be engaged enough to go over to Google search engine and type your name in to listen to your music. Someone that has visited your web page is someone that is a warm interest because they're visiting your web page probably more than once because they're interested in your music. Someone that's purchased your tickets or your merch, they're hot. They're hot traffic because they've shown you that they're really advocating for you by, going through the conversion stages. And now it's your job to figure out how you can retain them. But look, guys, this has been a terrible art lesson, if it was one, which is not. But this is basically broken down literally how you can understand your fan base journey, your customer journey, and really start understanding how to craft your message towards different, supporters at different stages that go from awareness to the interest to the considerations to the conversions and to the retention. And also understanding that there's a subset of traffic levels as well that go from cold to warm to hot. If you've gained any knowledge from this, please comment below, like this video, share this video with an indie musician or producer. And as always, make sure you support all of the videos that are coming out, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thank you.